Trump will serve multiple years in prison, says one of the former advisors of Trump. Now, is that true? We don't know. Steve Bannon says he believes that he will become the next political prisoner. Of course, Steve is actually going to prison starting July 1st. All for the same reason that Merrick Garland didn't show up, and then he won't be persecuted by his own DOJ. So we see that double standard of what's going on, and when we talk and voice truth, how risky is it? We have Elon Musk in court all the time now. We have Trump in court all the time now. Why are those things happening? All because they're willing to give you a voice for freedom. Now today, let's jump into that a little bit more, as there's three-letter agencies showing up in people's houses. Let's dive in.
Be free with me. Be free.
Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe if you like the content, and give us a thumbs up if you like this video. It does help us share our message across this platform. Now today we're going to be talking a little bit about how us as conservatives and us as wanting libertarian views or freedom-oriented style of leadership really comes under persecution. Really over the last 8 years, we've seen more and more of it. And I think what it was literally the Trump effect. I think when we played between the 40s, as we say, really before Obama, you had Republicans and Democrats basically they would take their little small victories, take their little small losses, and ultimately play the same game, very uniparty-like. Obama brought in a totally different way where he started making touchdowns for the liberals. Well, you know, he wasn't the best leader, of course. We know that. He brought in a lot of things that we didn't believe in. But I think what Trump did was he turned the pendulum the other way. Not that Trump was some ultra-conservative, but what he did is he brought a voice back to people who felt voiceless. So now, 8 years past that point, basically, where we had a 2016 victory, a 2020 situation, and then of course 2024, we're looking at another election that is going to be very volatile. I wrote a Substack yesterday. If you hadn't checked our Substack, go check it out. But it talked about a black swan. It seems like they're wanting something to just transpire to make this election either not happen or make this election, winnable for Biden. Well, there's a report that came out that said that Roger Stone actually believes that Michelle Obama will be tapped. Michelle may not want it. Well, it doesn't really matter because she may do it for the good of the party. So that's just one thing that's actually starting to come out. But now let's talk about really what the whole point of the video is today. So Trump, he gave a voice to the voiceless, we believe. Kind of like what we call the silent majority. Then you have Elon Musk, who's bought out a company that almost was fully on board with the Democratic platform. And both of those guys are seeing, harder times. They're both ultra-rich billionaires. They don't actually need to do anything, but they're doing it for the people, for the freedom. Now, a lot of people will kick back and say, well, they're just doing it for themselves. Well, to be honest with you, if they were doing it for themselves, they could make a whole lot more money than putting themselves in the political eye over something that doesn't matter. They can turn around and be like Jeff Bezos, where he's making ultra billions, or Nvidia, where they're making ultra billions, and just stay out of the limelight. But I believe there's more to it. I believe they're wanting to give people voices. Now, that's where we come up to this point of what Steve Bannon said. So you have two men who served under Trump who believed like he believed, and now they're facing contempt charges, then now put into prison. Now, we don't see that on the Democratic side. So you're seeing silencing of people who are literally kind of fulfilling a double standard here. We have Merrick Garland and Eric Holder, which were both AGs that stood against the contempt of Congress charge and pretty much did not do what they were supposed to do with their subpoenas. However, they're not facing jail time. Now we're seeing Trump's people do that. Now, what Bannon came out and said, of course, he was speaking at this event before he is literally going to serve his prison sentence that will last just days before the election. One of the biggest conservative podcasters and newscasters that has a daily show, he will be silenced and in prison until literally like 3 days before the election. So before he went in, he said, I believe that they will do everything in their power to silence Trump. They've been trying to do that, but now they're going to take it to the next level. He said, I believe they'll give him years. They'll sentence him years of prison. He'll go to jail. Now, he was not saying that he will actually serve right then. But what he is saying is what they're going to do is put this harsh charge on him and then probably say, well, we feel sorry for him, or we'll give him a pass. We'll just let him do it on house arrest. What it's doing is it's silencing him. Now think about what the court system has done over the last 6 months. They've silenced him with a gag order, but also the fact that if he's daily in court, he is not daily campaigning in the mornings, lunch, and night. If you remember when he was campaigning before, he was literally doing like 10 events a day. Now he's doing maybe 1 or 2. Not because he didn't want to, but they were able to silence him with using Lawfare. Now, are they going to do the same thing with this jail time? Could they honestly do that, and would it affect most people? We may be at an uproar, but honestly, would conservatives really do anything other than talk? Most conservative congressmen will probably say, oh, that's wrong. Go about their daily job and eat and dine with their friends at night and not worry about it. Because we're in that kind of time where our congressmen are not representing us. And so Elon and Trump kind of gave us a voice. Now, that brings me to my second point. Let's leave the national side for a second. Are we being the true voice of the voiceless now? So just 2 situations. One where a whistleblower kind of blew the whistle on the fact of a hospital doing wrong. He was a doctor, and he was saying, we are doing these therapies on kids to try to change them. FBI raided his house and his office. Why? He broke no law. He should be covered under the whistleblower laws. Bannon and Navarro should have been covered under presidential immunity. But why not? Double standard. Now let's talk about the situation. Just a few days ago, there was a nurse who was, again, shedding light on something that was going on with children that shouldn't have been going on. And guess what? Chris Rufo shared this, and it says, this is where we went too far, where the Biden administration has taken, quote unquote, a democracy and actually made it a dictatorship. Plainclothes FBI agent shows up because this nurse spoke out about what they were doing. What we've seen lately, and it scares us because we all have families, we're conservatives, we all have families, but when is there going to be plainclothes officers show up at your door to try to intimidate you, to silence you? That's exactly what's happening to Elon Musk when all these courts are trying to tie him up. I'm like, right now they're trying to bring a charge up against him from like years ago, kind of like what they did Trump. Why are they doing that? To silence. So we see this happening, and these FBI agents actually can't do anything because she didn't break the law, but what they could do is intimidate her enough to silence her. That's what I'm worried about with our congressmen. I honestly believe our congressmen go up there with great intentions. But for the majority, what they do is they put themselves in a very precarious situation and almost get blackmailed or almost get talked in to something, and then they get silenced and they actually won't stand up for anything. Now, you can say what you want about Mike Pence. Let's go back 2010 to 2016. Mike Pence was a sharper, conservative Christian guy. He was definitely more establishment, no doubt. But he had a voice. He tended to still kind of not be as much of the establishment. But he put himself in piles of debt with this election. He put himself in a very precarious situation with the Senate, and now he is like the voice of the establishment. Why is that? Is it because they're willing to pay his debt? Is it because they have something on him? I don't know. I'm just saying there was some intimidation to change the way in his mindset and what it was. I think of Mike Johnson. He was supposed to be this awesome conservative that was going to bring in change and release the tapes of J6. He was going to do so much. And all of a sudden, it's gone. Is he intimidated? Is it where he can't do those things? Is it because he got put in a precarious situation? I don't know. What I'm saying, though, is it seems like the more and more we see intimidation, not only on Trump or Musk, on these billionaires who are trying to give us a voice, we're seeing intimidation on their leaderships, on their advisors, Bannon, Navarro. We're seeing persecution on people who are willing to speak out to save our kids. We're seeing raids happen. I mean, look at O'Keefe. Truth, everything that O'Keefe has shared when it came to Veritas and now with OMG, now you've seen him being raided and blasphemed and being intimidated because he has a voice and they're wanting to silence him. And then, of course, our congressmen. They have voices and they can speak, but most of them are silenced. and intimidated because of money, because of prestige or power. I don't know. Pride, it could be. The sad thing is, if we don't start supporting the people who are wanting to give us voices, no matter if we agree or not agree with them. You may not agree with everything that Trump says. You may not agree with everything, this guy says. But if they're giving us a voice, they allow us to speak, and they allow us to have the freedom to do that. But on the other side, if we say, well, we're not all on board with Trump, we're not all on board with Elon, they're all, I don't know how honest they are. Your other alternative is being silenced by the Biden administration and by the Democrats on the other side. You cannot tell me, there's not one time that Trump's DOJ sent people out in plain clothes to go to people's houses to say you can't speak about this anymore, or to interview them about a tweet that they sent out. Never. This is just a show of regime manipulation. And if I can push you far enough and intimidate you far enough, then I can silence you. And I challenge you now, don't be silent. Start speaking truth. Not in a condescending way where you hurt people's feelings, but if you speak truth and you say, this is the voice of reasoning, this is the freedom voice. Did you ever think that we would want to know what men and women are because people couldn't figure it out? Did you ever think that we would allow criminals to walk free and we'd arrest people for praying at a clinic? No. But if they take your voice, they take your freedom. The First Amendment gives us the right to talk, to petition, to have the freedoms that we have, and now we need to do them. Stand up for truth, stand up for speech. Not only that, stand up for God. And I think, yes, we will see persecution, and yes, this will be urgent, but I believe if we don't speak, the fact that to support these people who are giving a voice to the voiceless, I honestly believe we will see people in prison. We will see leaders in prison, and we will see a new way of America. I hope Bannon is wrong, but sadly, look, he's going to prison. I never would have thought they'd actually put him in prison. And I believe they're going to try to do all they can to stop Trump and silence him. If they silence him, they're actually silencing all of us, because they're silencing a chance for us to just be able to speak. And that's a big deal. Give me your thoughts. God bless.